Hey YouTube, my name is Mina and today I am starting a bunch of seeds. Going to be starting seeds that take a really long time to get to maturity. So eggplants and peppers, and I'm starting some asparagus. I'm also going to be starting some flower seeds, and we'll see what else that we can start. I'm going to try something different this year. I am going to try to start my beets inside, and I know some say that transplanting beets is not a great idea because they take longer, but when they're small here, they get really outcompeted and they have some pests, and I just want to give them a jump start and get a jump start on the growing season. So I'm going to start a whole bunch of beets, and to help speed up their germination, they are soaking right now, and I don't know how long I'm gonna let them soak, but they're in the water, so that's better than not. I would really like to get a heat mat to start my peppers on. I may get Sean to pick one up from the store on his way home, because peppers like warm climates. They like it to germinate, they like it to grow in, and it's kind of chilly in this back room, so it might take them a little bit longer to germinate. So I'm going to talk about some of the pepper varieties and other things I'm going to be planting in the next few days with you guys. I had mentioned the beets, so this is an experiment, and I'll tell you why I'm doing it this way. I'm going to see if any of these germinate in this plastic bag with a wet paper towel, because these beets were they were on my counter in a stack of seeds a few years ago whenever I had the worst year of my life, and I let some bananas on my counter rot over top of them, and I didn't know it, and they dripped banana juice all over it, and most of the seeds out of those packs, none of them grew. And so these were still in my bag of seeds, and I thought, well, I'll throw them in there and see if they germinate. If they do, then I'll put them in some soil blocks anyway. Now the rest of these, most of them are peppers, and then I have some flowers, and I'm just going to go over really quickly what my favorite ones that I grew last year and in the previous years were. I'll just get this out of the way. This is a paper towel that has seeds in it. I'm pretty sure these are the Nepalese, I'm probably saying that wrong, bell pepper. They look like little UFOs, and I saved those seeds and didn't label them. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. I didn't save too many seeds last year, but those I'm pretty sure I did. The giant Marconis, I loved these. They were really sweet. They actually, sometimes I have an issue with our peppers ripening in time before the frost here. It's not that we don't have enough time necessarily, but maybe I don't start my peppers soon enough, which is why I'm starting them now. So we've got the big gem pepper. It is similar to the giant Marconi. They're both really sweet peppers. I don't think that these had any. Actually, the big gem has a little bit of spice. I don't remember them having much spice last year, but then again, I don't think I ate the seeds, and maybe that's where the spice is, because in peppers, that's normally where the spice is. Poblano's classic pepper. I loved these. These are the Corbaci peppers. They were beautiful. They were beautiful growing, and they were super sweet, and they made really, really good, I mean, anything that you would put a pepper in, it was good. They were not, these were a sweet pepper. They were not spicy at all. I just thought they were so pretty. Cubanelle, I think that's how you say it, but this is a habanada. I didn't get to try any of these. I don't remember them being in my garden last year, so maybe I didn't actually plant these last year. Maybe I did like the year before, but I'm going to try those this year. I can't handle heat very well anymore, but I might try to grow one cayenne plant just so that I can dry some cayenne pepper. I normally stay away from cayenne pepper in general. Then we have a sweet bonnet, which is just a sweet version of the regular Scotch bonnet, which is a spicy pepper. And then these were really good. It's supposed to be the sweetest of all peppers, is what this packet said, but I don't believe that it was the sweetest. It was still a really good pepper. I'm going to be trying these again. They did not turn yellow orange last year. They stayed green. They didn't fully ripen. That's probably something that I have done. The large red cherry pepper. These are a little bit spicy. Some people like to pickle these. They like to pickle them whole. This was the most interesting pepper that I grew last year. I don't know how to say it, so go ahead and screenshot that if you want to look it up. But they had such a florally taste to them. And then these, I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember if I could tell the difference between these two. This one's supposed to be really citrusy and a similar heat to the cayenne. I remember them both being a little bit spicy and having similar flavors. So maybe one of them outgrew the other and I just couldn't tell the difference at that point, because you know, later on in the summertime, and then you lose your plant tags and you don't know which pepper's which. The Jimmy Nardellos were really, really good. These were really good for cooking. They're just a really sweet pepper. A regular serrano pepper. Gonna grow these for cooking. And then I think that is all of the peppers. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. I found some more, of course. How could I forget these? The Tam jalapeno, which is a mild version of the regular jalapeno. And then I'm also going to grow the regular jalapeno peppers, because you've got to have those in your garden. They go in everything. Salsas. Shishito peppers, which is one of my favorites. They're really good grilled, and one plant produces so many little peppers. So if you're new to gardening and you don't really have a big garden and you want to try to grow peppers, the shishito pepper is a really good one. I like it also because it matures a lot quicker than the rest. And then we have just like a regular California, is this the California Wonder? Yeah. Sweet pepper. These were given to me in a big bunch of seeds, so I'm going to grow those this year too. Now, I think that is all of the pepper seeds. Now I want to talk to you about some of the other things that I'm going to be trying to grow. So obviously, lettuce. Lettuce is something that is very, very simple to grow if you're just starting out learning how to garden. I haven't started any lettuce seeds yet because lettuce grows pretty fast, but I'll probably end up starting those this week. And then I've got some herbs in here. I've got some dill, some parsley, which I've noticed that the parsley that I had planted out there actually did really well as far as staying alive in the cool weather. I've never grown celery, but this was one of those seed packets that was in a bunch that somebody had gifted me that were going to be thrown away from a store, and they snagged them. The rest of these are flowers that I'm going to be starting indoors. I love zinnias. This one is so pretty. We've got that, the Queen Line zinnia. And then we've got this one, and it's really pretty. California Giant zinnias. I have a bunch of zinnias. They're just so pretty. They're really good cut flower. California Giants. Are those the same? Yep. So these are just the same, but just two different seed companies. I'll have a ton of zinnias. That's not all. We've got the Canary Yellow. This was a free gift from Baker Creek. Used to, I don't know if they do it anymore, but used to when you would order seeds, you would get a free seed along there. Then we've got, there's no picture on this one, but the Cupid Mix zinnia. That one was from Baker Creek also. So then we have the candy cane zinnias, which I'm really excited for because look how pretty those are. They're striped. Look, there's another pack of zinnias. These were so pretty last year, and I can't wait to mix them in with the other colors. I had them grown by themselves last year, but they actually had these at Walmart, so you go grab some of those. I love chamomile. These didn't actually bloom last year because I planted them really late, but they're still alive in my green stalk. They survived the freezing cold snows that we had. German chamomile, and then this one. And they were both one of the most amazing things that I grew in my garden last year that I had grown for the first time. They smell so good, fresh, like absolutely nothing like chamomile tea. The fresh chamomile smells like green apples. It smells amazing. And then we have some milkweed, which I'm going to start in the house. So it's a perennial in zones 3 through 9. So we're zone 6B, so that'll definitely come back. And if you're wondering about your zone, you can go to Google and type in, what is my zone? And then type in your location, you can figure that out. And then bee balm, which smells amazing. I'm not so sure about these. Loofah seeds, so loofah takes a really long time to grow. This says 180 warm days, and so if you're in zone 7, which technically, since they've changed the zones, I am in zone 7, but I don't trust that. But it says anywhere that's cooler than zone 7 to start them indoors. I think I might be a little early on starting those indoors. So I might wait a couple weeks on the loofah. Might start them around the same time that I start my tomato plants and just see. Because when you start squash indoors, they grow so fast. But if the loofah, maybe since it has such a long growing season, maybe it won't. And they just tend to take over if you start them inside. Plus, if you start squash seeds outside, like you put the seed directly into the ground. Oh, that wind is crazy. You put the squash seed directly into the ground, your plant is going to be a whole lot stronger than if you transplanted it. So that goes for anything like cucumbers or watermelons or squash or beans, the really fast germinating ones. Just go ahead and plant those directly outside after your danger of frost has passed, because they're going to do a whole lot better. But since this is special, you know, we're going to try it out. And a lot of most root vegetables you don't want to start indoors, but like I said, I'm going to take a risk as far as my beets go and try that this year. I did start some kohlrabi, because apparently you can transplant kohlrabi, and I don't know, I've never tried it, and I would really like to try it because I like all the vegetables that taste like broccoli and cabbage and all of that. So I want to try the kohlrabi because I think it's supposed to be kind of a faster growing plant also. So I would assume that you could ferment kohlrabi the same way that you do cabbage, and I might try that if I have a bunch of kohlrabi that all comes into, you know, because I haven't succession planted anything. I started so much cabbage and broccoli, and I don't know if I have a place to put it, but I do have several people that I'm going to be able to gift plants to this year. But I want to show you my cool weather veggies that have germinated so far. Pretty much everything in this tray. The kale was the first thing to germinate, but we have Swiss chard here, all kinds of kale, cilantro, and even these little tiny strawberries have started to germinate. These are snapdragons, and the pansies really haven't germinated at all. And then the spinach. And my onions, which you guys saw me plant those, they have started to finally all come up. They took a really long time to germinate. And then down here we have what I planted a few days ago in the soil blocks, which I will put that in here, this video too. All of my cabbages, these are cauliflowers and broccolis. These are Chinese type cabbages. And then these over here are like our regular type cabbages, and I'm really excited for the purple ones. We've got purple cabbages, and we've got Brussels sprouts. It looks like these weren't germinated this morning, but it looks like these Brussels sprouts have already started to germinate just since this morning, so that's exciting. I've got a soil blocker in here, and I've filled up a tub with a mixture of potting mix and seed starting mix because I have a ton of seed starting mix. I could have just used seed starting mix. That might have actually worked better because it's so light and fluffy. It might have formed better. Where the potting mix has some chunks in it, it still works really well, but they fall apart kind of, sort of. I wanted to use the potting mix because I wanted the soil blocks to have a little bit of nutrition in it, so I'm not rushed to up pot everything, and they might just be able to stay in there until I put them in the ground. Today I'm going to be planting my cabbages and broccoli and Brussels sprouts, but I wanted to show you how I've been doing the soil blocks. It's been a few years since I've done any soil blocking, so I had to do a few to make sure I was doing it correctly, and I'll show you what works for me. So you have your container here, and you want it to be really, really wet. Like whenever you squeeze it, pretty much water just barely comes out. If it's too dry, then it's not going to pack together. It's kind of like making bread dough. You keep adding flour, you keep adding water until you get the right consistency, and you'll know because it'll stick together. Now, you can do this, you can twist it around while pushing down, you can scrape it back and forth, and then push down. You just want to pack it in there as good as you can. Lift it up and look at it and make sure that it's full. And this is a little bit hard on your hands. If you've got any kind of arthritis or anything in your hands, this might not be the tool for you. Then again, I don't know. It's a little hard on my hands, but I have carpal tunnel. You want to push down, kind of really pack it down in there, and then you're going to pull this up. And then once I get it all the way up, I kind of wiggle it and push it just a little bit more to get those indentions in there, and then slowly lift it up, and ta-da! And then you'll see, like how this one right here, it's still got some soil left inside of the seed blocker, and it's because it was a big piece of mulch. I'm just gonna ever so slightly just put that back in there. It's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. And so these are your little soil blocks. And your seeds will grow roots throughout it, really hold them together. So whenever you pull them apart and get them out of here, they'll do really well. This is a really good way to save money and to keep plastic out of landfills. I'm going to try to get this. There's a really big piece of mulch here. I'm going to get it out. See, and that's the issue with using potting mix instead of seed starting mix, is stuff like this. But that's okay. I'm using what I got. I'm just going to pack that back in there like that. I'm reusing old containers that I've had for years. You can use anything that you got to put these in. I've also got some wooden boxes that I built specifically to use with these that I'm also going to use. This one is the Ladbroke, made in England. So there's the number. You can look it up. It's a really good way to save money on buying those little seed pods. You don't want to buy those little seed pods in the store that you have to rehydrate. They're horrible. They do not work well at all. That's just a waste of money, and you're going to be really disheartened when you use them and your plants don't do great. If you're thinking about investing in one of these, because I think they're about $35+ depending on what size you get. They make all different sizes. They even make little micro mini ones. It's worth the investment because this is going to last forever. I was able to fill this thing up completely. It's only got 5 rows or 5 blocks, and so it only filled it up from here. And then I just turned it sideways and went this way until there was only 3 holes left, or room for 3 more. And I just made them over here and then picked them up, which, you know, they're not, I mean, they'll fall apart if you're not careful, but you can move them. They're not perfect. They're definitely pretty awesome. Seed starting doesn't have to be expensive. Well, yes, I bought a soil blocker several years ago, and those things last forever. So it's like a one-time purchase, pretty much, unless you're using the absolute heck out of it. You could just fill this up full of dirt and you wouldn't have to do the soil blocks, but you can see they're all separated and they're nice little blocks, and like real life Minecraft. I am going to be putting eggplants and asparagus in this box. And this is just a shoebox. Seed starting does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be expensive. Like I said, you could just fill this up full of soil and then separate your seedlings later. These are the first ones that I'm planting, the long purple early eggplants. Now, eggplants isn't something that I normally eat, nor is it something that I normally grow, but I'm trying to branch out, do some different things this year. Also, I'm part of a gardening program that helps people start their first gardens, and I'm going to be supplying some plant starts for them. So I'm going to start as many as I can for other people who might enjoy eggplant more than I do. Usually I'll put multiple seeds per hole, but I'm not doing that with these. I have a tendency to overplant anyway, so we're just going to see what germinates and what doesn't. The reasoning for putting multiple seeds in one spot would be because of germination, but I will show you that I didn't think that these kale seeds were all going to germinate because the seeds were a little bit old, and well, they proved me wrong. And now I have a lot of seedlings that need to be separated and up-potted, which is perfectly fine. Like I said, I'm going to supply seeds for a bunch of people this year, but they're going to have to get out of there a lot sooner than I had anticipated. The next ones that I'm planting, they're from MI Gardener. They're Casper eggplants, so they're white. And I don't know a whole lot about eggplants, like I said before, but most of these packets are saying 75 days to harvest. Now, I think that the reason you're supposed to start them so early is because the seeds take a long time to germinate, and they kind of get off to a slower start. So that's why I'm starting them along with our peppers. So this next one, oh, sorry, you can hear my geese and my ducks in the background. This next one is just a large purple eggplant. It says massive dark purple variety can grow up to 3 pounds or more. So days to maturity doesn't mean from the time you plant it, but the time that it germinates. And so it takes 7 to 14 days to germinate, sometimes longer depending on the temperature, because ideal temperatures are 60 to 85, but I guarantee you it is not 60 in this room. So it might take longer than that, and that's why we're starting them earlier than maybe somebody might. It says 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, and we are about to hit March 1st, and our last frost is May 10th. And my growing zone is 6B in Southwest Virginia. However, the growing zones have changed, so I would technically be growing zone 7. I'm not trusting that. I probably will never trust that. I don't know. Weather's crazy, and we know for sure that May 10th, that's when we're supposed to plant. Check out that wind. I don't know if you can hear it howling out there, but it is wild. And then last but not least, we got our asparagus seeds. And you might be wondering, Mina, you bought asparagus roots, crowns. Why are you planting them from seed? And I just want to see if I can do it. If you look on the bottom of a seed pack, it usually gives the days to maturity. I want you to check out what this one says. 725 days. That's because it takes 3 years for asparagus to fully mature before you can start harvesting it. So I'm gonna start these, and maybe in 3 years I'll get some asparagus. It's way cheaper to do it this way. Now you can get some plants from, Walmart, like I did, for, let's see, how much were these? $3.24 for the same variety, and this has 4 roots in it. But this has several seeds. So maybe in 3 years, if I can keep them alive, we'll have that many more asparagus plants. I figure, why not? Why not give it a shot? It was $1.96 for that many seeds, so we're going to try it out. Days to germinate on these says 2 to 3 weeks, and they might take a while to germinate. That's okay, because peppers take about that long. Hopefully these will get big enough to plant outside this year, and then I'll just have to babysit them outside for the next couple years. We'll see. We're gonna try it out. So in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be starting all of those, and then a few weeks from now is when I'm going to start my tomatoes. I don't want to start them too soon because they grow so fast, and then they take up so much space. And right now I don't have a greenhouse. I'm hoping that I'll be able to build a greenhouse. I've got some windows. I don't know if I have enough windows, but I'm going to start the construction on it anyway, and then go from there and figure out how many more I need. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna, if I don't end up getting that window greenhouse built in time for my tomatoes, I'll probably have to get one of those little plastic like back porch greenhouses to put them in, because there is not enough light, there's not enough room in this little tiny room that I'm in right now to start that many tomato plants, and I have a lot that I want to start, and especially since I'm growing for some other people this year. If you like these seed videos, stay tuned and subscribe, because I have a bunch more seed starting to do, and I'm going to be going through all of the varieties that I'm planting and starting. And yeah, I need you guys to hold me accountable for getting these things in the ground. Let me know in the comments what you guys are starting right now and what zone you are in, and if there's still snow on the ground there, or if you're having this windy March weather. It is the 28th of February, so we were almost to March 1st, and it is always so windy here in Southwest Virginia, and sometimes we get those random thunderstorms, and then the next day it'll be cold, and then one day it'll be warm. I am ready for spring weather, that's for sure. But let me know down in the comments, what's your weather like, what seeds are you starting, and what other kind of videos would you like to see me post? So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.